Welcome to another Elite Audio video, and this is a follow-up from our weekend VIP event, which first of all I want to thank everybody that took the time to come through. I know some of you travelled quite a long distance to get here, so from us all here at Elite Audio, it is genuinely appreciated. So it was absolutely an amazing day. I can't really put into words how much we enjoyed it in terms of the Elite Audio team that were on that day, and equally the feedback we had from you guys, which it was great. I think everybody thoroughly enjoyed themselves. So it was this burning question about infrastructure versus component cost. So for those of you that weren't here, we basically put together two systems. One that was well in excess of £100,000 and one that was around the sort of £50,000 to £60,000 mark. The difference being actually on the less expensive system, we put the bulk or the largest majority in terms of percentage of the budget on the infrastructure in terms of the overall split, meaning things like mains conditioning, cabling, isolation devices, networking, and so on. So it was a very different approach to providing the best sound. It was really interesting to watch everybody as we were doing. It was blind testing. Andrew had managed to set up our two systems on one Roon account so we could switch very easily from one Roon endpoint to another and use the same tracks. The only difference was one played through System A, the other through System B, and those that were listening had no idea which system was which. There was no visual cues to tell them, and genuinely you could see a few perplexed faces in the audience as they're trying to work out what was what. So we then collected all the cards, the voting cards afterwards, and this is what you voted for those that were here. So first of all, the split was 56%, 39%, and this was on which system you voted for sounding the best. This is not the vote in terms of what you thought was what system. I'll come to that in a second. 56% of you voted for the infrastructure system as sounding the best. And I must admit, I was genuinely surprised, only from the point of view that I honestly believed that the more expensive 100k plus system would win. I thought it might be close, but I certainly didn't expect the infrastructure system to have such a resounding victory. 39% voted the best sound to the system that had the components, i.e. the more expensive system, and 5% of you were undecided, which I can easily understand. It was not obvious which was which system. Interestingly, you'd also to vote on what system you thought was the more expensive one, i.e. the component-based system, and which system you thought was the infrastructure. And 50% got it right and 50% got it wrong. And that in itself is a very interesting statistic. I think the one thing that it highlights, and interestingly chatting to everybody after we'd done one of the listening sessions, I don't think in any event that we've done before have I seen such an intensity of debate taking place afterwards once everybody was aware which system was which. So I think it was entertaining. I certainly found it entertaining. I hope you guys that were here did too. But it did generate a lot of debate around the subject of how important infrastructure is, and I think we demonstrated that it is a vital part of any system. Ultimately, of course, it comes down to personal preference, and that's where, audio is unique in that sense. We all like something different. It is a kind of season to taste in many respects, but the good thing is that we know which components generate a very specific sound. So again, I'd really just want to thank everybody for their input, their feedback, their participation on the day. It was really genuinely great fun. We had a nice day here too. The weather was, there was no wind, it was quite mild, so we could all stand outside and eat our pizza and you know, chat about all things audiophile based. And I guess, you know, for next year, for our event that we'll hold, it'd be good to get your guys' opinions and suggestions on what you would like us to do. So whilst it's going to be, you know, May next year again for our next event, please feel free to share your opinions, give us your suggestions, what you would like us to do. We like this kind of blind testing, so I think the format seems to be one that is something that, you know, gets your imagination, but more importantly gets you kind of engaged in the process of listening to the music. Personally, I was kind of on the fence with both systems. I thought they were both really good, and they were. There was absolutely no question that both systems were great sounding. And ultimately, as I said, this is where it comes down to personal preference in terms of the sound that you like. What I thought really stuck out was the Anthem STR integrated, which is about £5,500, actually is about quarter of the price of the amplification it was up against. And I think that shows just how good an integrated amplifier it was. We had the full room correction applied to that, so arguably that definitely helped. And let's face it, unless you've got a dedicated, built from the ground up listening room, every one of our listening rooms that we have at home has many compromises in terms of frequency modes and so on, so none of it is ever perfect. So the Anthem certainly proved itself in that respect, and equally the Paradigm speakers, which again were in the infrastructure system, they were less than half the price of the speakers in the main system. So all in all, it was great fun. There's no right or wrong with any of this. It is simply, you know, opinion and nothing more. And ultimately what you like will depend on your musical preference and of course ultimately the kind of sound you like. So thank you again very much for attending. These events would never be the same unless you guys come through and support us. We love the feedback, the interactions were great, and we hope sincerely you all left a lot wiser, a lot more entertained, a little bit more educated into infrastructure, possibly, is the thing I would hope. And ultimately, you know, pick up the phone, give us a call if you want to chat more about how we can help you get the most in terms of the latent potential your system has, so that we can actually bring your system performance to a much higher level without changing any of the components that you have already. And I think the one thing that is, you know, undeniable from the event is that infrastructure is such an important aspect of any audio system. Thanks for watching today. Please sign up for our newsletter. You can do that from our homepage on our website. Please like our YouTube channel. We're always going to be doing more videos in the future, special events, special promotions and offers. Our newsletter, if you sign up for that, contains early bird offers on all part exchanges, so you get the first opportunity to buy something that's gone through our checking process, and then it comes with a full 12-month warranty, and you get to see that before anyone else. So that's a good reason to sign up. Ultimately, it's all about enjoying the music, and we certainly did that on Saturday. Thanks again for watching today, and I'll speak to you again very soon.